This is a transformational guide with 3 relatively simple steps that will enable you to radically transform your life and create more freedom for yourself. These are 3 things I wish I had known in my 20s and 30s. I'm in my 40s now, but I could have saved 10 years and I could have enjoyed financial freedom and abundance for 10 years longer. So if there's one thing I would have done differently on my journey, is that I would have integrated these things earlier. I would have taken my own development seriously earlier, so I could have enjoyed the effects of that longer. This is going to be invaluable. So let's get started. First thing you have to do is change your direction. People think they have goals, but they really don't. If you get really honest with yourself, most people will hear themselves say they want more financial freedom, they want to travel more, they want greater experiences, but they're not goals. They're general life circumstances that most people dream of but never end up achieving because they're not specific. So you want to make sure you get very, very specific around your goal. Stay with the question, what would I absolutely love? If you don't do that, and if you don't get very clear with a technique I'm going to give you in a moment, you will be like a ship without a rudder. You will be drifting like the masses of people do. It's mass contagion. It's really what it is. It's mass hypnosis. Look at how people around you behave, how they talk, how they act, what the results they have. One of my participants, he's in his mid-20s, and I asked him what his goal was, and he said, it is financial freedom. I said, great. How many of your friends are living that right now? None of them. I go, that's the problem. We don't judge them. That is not our right. But if you're in an environment right now that is not conducive to your growth, odds for you creating success is not really that big. But it starts with you. So I'm glad you're here. Stay with the question, what would I absolutely love? And then get it down on paper in a concise sentence. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am earning, living, experiencing. We have team members who are in their 20s, 30s, who are living lives of freedom. They travel when they want to travel. They see the world. They earn all kinds of money because they made a decision that that is what they were going to do. It starts with that. Don't give any speck of thought as to what you think they might think of you. Who cares? They probably don't think anyways. Make sure it's tangible. Make sure you have a mental picture of it and make sure it's written out on a goal card. I will link to a goal card template here below in the description that we will give you for free that you can use. That comes with 13 tips from my good friend and mentor Bob Proctor and myself in terms of how to get clear on this that really will help you get clear on that goal. Now, the next step is to reframe the way you look at it, because right now it might seem big. It's a big goal. And that is when we have to bring the law of relativity into our life and ask ourselves in relation to what it just is. How do you think Elon Musk would look at that goal? Probably like a tiny little one, right? So it's in how you look at it. Every time you say that is a big goal, it feels like it's a big task. Tell yourself in relation to what? The more you repeat this goal, the more your subjective mind accepts that as real, everything is going to change. I did not believe I could travel the world, perform magic in my 20s and 30s when I really wanted to do it in the beginning, but I started believing in it, and that's what happened. I traveled the world, I did great shows and cruise ships and television and all of that until I got to a point where it felt pretty hollow. I'd studied personal development. All I knew was that I was going to teach all of this going forward, and that's what I committed my life to. But you want to get so clear on what you want to do, and you don't have to believe it when you set the goal, but that is the first step, and start making the goal look small, related to something much bigger, and that will help your subjective mind in accepting it. If you're serious about creating this radical change in your life, you have to integrate this next hack that I'm going to give you. This is going to change everything. It changed everything for me, and it will for you too. It literally enabled me to turn my annual income into my monthly income in less than a year, in 11 months. It was such a shocking result, I had a hard time understanding what the heck happened to me. I turned $40,000 into $750,000, and then I took it over $1 million the next year, and I was still wondering, like, was it really that simple? It was relatively simple, but it wasn't easy, and you'll find that same thing to be true as you get started integrating it. So there's 2 things in this. It's called your commitment and your environment. A committed, irrevocable decision means that you're training your mind to do things you don't necessarily necessarily like to do, but you're doing them anyways and you know they will give you the outcome that you want. It has to be a committed decision. Find an accountability partner. Find somebody that can hold you to the highest standard, because there will be days when you don't feel like it. There were days I didn't feel like it, but I had a daily commitment in a reading partner and I kept connecting with them every day, Monday through to Friday, and that helped me to a higher standard, and you want to do the same thing. And now let's talk about your environment, because you are a product of the top 5 people you spend your time with. That's a fact. So there's 3 categories of people. There's the old friends and family, those we just have known forever. Then there's your peers, people that think like you, that want to create great change in their life, people in our community, for instance. And you have mentors and coaches that have gone the road, that can show you exactly what you need to do to get the same result. The first group, you have to dial time with them back. You have to reclaim some of that time. It doesn't mean that you're cutting them out of your life, but you have to dial some of that time back. So next time, your friend calls you up and asks if you have time to go out for a drink, you say, I'd love to have a drink with you. And then you suggest when you should be going out. Do you have time next Friday in this and that time frame? Now you are saying yes, but on your terms. That's much different than just saying yes to everything. That was me for too long. The second group are your peers. You want to spend more time there. You want to get into mastermind groups. You want to get to know people who are thinking this way, who are growth oriented, who have made a committed decision that when they turn 30, they're going to be financially independent. They just make the decision. You can make that decision. There are people in their 20s and 30s that are living that kind of life. We have them in our community. Make sure you surround yourself with those, because eventually what they have will rub off on you. But if you keep surrounding yourself with people that you're around now, you will become like them. And the third group is coaches, mentors. Seek out people who have demonstrated by results, they know what they're talking about, and do exactly like they tell you. Don't waver, don't question it, just do exactly like they tell you to do. When you do that, everything shifts. That's what happened to me. I had never had a mentor before. I was 26, 27. I owed $50,000. I was sick. I was broke. Nothing worked. And then everything started to shift, because I was starting to get advice from coaches, from trainers, from speakers who were demonstrated by results that they knew what they're talking about. And that's when things started to shift. But I also had to let go of some friendships along the way, and that was hard. But see, successful people, they have formed the habit of doing things not successful people don't like to do. Most people don't like to set up boundaries. They don't like to say no. That is why they stay stuck. To integrate this commitment in your life, there's 4 steps we have to focus on. It's really building the habit of consistency. You have to have the clear goal, like I talked about. You have to have a burning desire for achieving it. If you don't have that, you don't have a goal, and you're not going to move very far. Make sure that's number 1. The second step to building the habit of persistence and discipline is to make sure you execute on your goal on a daily basis. You do something that has to do with your goal on a daily basis, come hell or high water. That's what you're going to do. And 3, make sure your mind is guarded against any negative influences by friends, family, people around you. And 4th, make sure you have a supporting network of people that are holding you to the highest standard when you have a hard time doing it yourself, until you get to a point where that becomes your modus operandi, that becomes your normal operating system. Then everything starts to change. As an example, I love integrating habits that I know are not easy, but I know they will reap me the benefits longer term. I just invested in a plunge pool here on my balcony that is 39 degrees Fahrenheit, almost close to freezing. And jumping in that every day, it's not going to be easy. I've done cryo before. I do it 3 times a week, but now I can do it from home, which is wonderful. I have to train my mind every single day to do that, and the brain is going to fire off warning signals every day, but I learn to overrule that. You need to do the same thing in your life. You need to learn to overrule those signals and doing it anyways. You change your direction, you create a new path, and you commit to it. I promise you, you can be financially free, live the rest of your life in freedom by following these relatively simple steps. Make sure you download our goal template below, and also make sure you take our quiz that is based around your mind's biggest success blocker. So you'll learn what that number 1 mind blocker is, and most importantly, what to do about it. Let us know how it goes, and we will see you in the next video that will help you towards a better, richer, and more fulfilling life. Bye for now.